Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just got some new shoes and I am so stoked about trying these things out. Recently, a company called Fitvil reached out to me and wanted me to test drive some of their shoes. The thing about Fitvil is their shoes are designed to be ergonomic and comfortable and kind of adapt to the shape of your foot. But the thing that really attracted me about their product was the wide toe box that they advertise. Now, I don't have giant flat feet, but I do tend to wear a wider shoe, and I have a really hard time finding good looking and comfortable shoes that are wide enough to accommodate my feet. If I wear shoes that are too tight, they crunch the bones together, and every step I take is agonizing because it's popping my foot bones against each other. It's absolutely unbearable. So whenever I'm looking for new shoes, I have to go with things that have that wider toe. Well, that's part of Fitvil's thing. Their shoes are designed to be comfortable and functional and effective. So let me show you what they sent me. Here's my box. Got a little munched in shipping. So the shoes that I picked out that I wanted to try are these low top Lug Max hiking shoes. Look how cool these things are. These things have an EVA sole in them, and it's designed to be rugged and durable yet comfortable. They have a no-touch slip-in build, which I'm going to test out here in just a minute, because as I get older, I wake up in the morning some days and my back is like, yeah, we're not bending over today. So putting on shoes can be a bit of a task, but overall, they're just sharp looking shoes. Now, some of the things that Fitvil says about their shoes are the shoes have what they call 4-point stability. So the shoes offer a little bit of gait control, which I can use because I've had a condition that causes my left foot to kind of lean out to one side. I started noticing in my early teens that I would wear the left shoe on that outside much more than anywhere else on the shoes. So I'm anxious to see if this will help get that under control. The shoes have a microfiber construction, which allows them to breathe. And of course, they have great traction. I can't say much for any of that because I haven't tried them out yet. So what I'm going to do is for the next few days, I'm going to wear these constantly. They advertise 8-hour comfort. So if you have to wear your shoes to work every day, they're going to be comfortable the whole day. Let's test that theory. Let's see if it works out and if these become my favorite shoes. They're not the cheapest things out there, but they're also not ridiculously expensive, but they are expensive enough that if I pay this kind of money for a shoe, I need it to do everything they say it's going to do. Let's give it a test. Let's take a few days and let's see how these Fitvil shoes hold up. So it's the end of my first work day with my Fitvil hiking shoes. When I put the shoes on this morning, I noticed that they have a very snug fit on my feet, which I was a little bit surprised by. Even when I did the initial slip-on test, I didn't really wear them that long, so I didn't pay much attention to the way the shoe fit. But this morning I noticed that they have a very secure and snug fit around my foot, except for in the toe box where they clearly have added more room. Now, it's not like my toes are just flying free at the end of the shoe. They still have a good fit to them, but it wasn't uncomfortable on my toes. There was nothing that was compressing them. But I did have an issue. When I got to work and I started walking around a little bit, I was having some discomfort in the shoes. And I found myself wondering if I was going to be able to continue wearing them. And one of the issues that I have, other than the aforementioned issue with my toes pushing together if the shoes are too tight, is that if the sole of the shoe is too stiff, it has a contributing effect, causes the bones in my foot to hurt. So I went to my office and sat down and I took off the left shoe because this was the one that was giving me fits. Now, something that I need to mention is I recently broke the little toe on my right foot. Anything that has too much compression is painful for me right now. I'm only partway through the healing process and I can only wear certain shoes comfortably. But it was my left foot this morning that was really giving me fits. So I went back to the office, I took off this shoe, and I kind of massaged the bottom of my foot to relax it a little bit. So I put the shoe back on, and after a while, I stopped noticing the shoes. Now that says a lot because I essentially went from knowing there were shoes on my feet to suddenly not thinking about it anymore. So after about 2 hours of wearing these shoes, the sole started to kind of find its groove with my feet and vice versa. So at that point I decided, let's go for a little walk. Now, fortunately for me, I have a little hiking trail that goes around the perimeter of the place where I work. So I decided, let's go for a hike. The great thing about this particular trail is it gives me a lot of different kinds of landscape to explore. And I found myself very comfortably walking in these shoes. I will point out that on the outside of each shoe, the sole extends out just a little bit. And that's part of that 4-point stability that they talk about with these shoes. It kind of gives shape to the sole of the shoe to help you to walk correctly. This is not an orthopedic shoe, but it's very clearly designed to give you a proper natural gait. But I got to go out and test it on various different kinds of ground in order to see how it was going to perform. And I found the shoes to be extremely comfortable. Now, normally when I get new shoes, I try really carefully to avoid anything that might cause them to get dirty or damaged, but I mean, honestly, I'm trying to put these things through a test. So I crunched through a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But even as much as we've had rain the last few days, I couldn't find any puddles to stomp through. And even after more than 8 hours of wearing them, I found them to be extremely comfortable. I think in total, I've probably had them on for about 10 hours now, and I'm not chomping at the bit to just go kick them off. But one of the things that really will tell if these shoes are going to work out for me is if tomorrow morning when I get up, my feet are able to comfortably go back in them. Over the weekend, I did a whole lot of walking. When I got up the next day, my feet were screaming at me. So the question is, are these shoes going to fit as well tomorrow morning as they do right now? Or am I going to have to spend the first 2 hours of the day breaking them back in? Well, let's find out. It's time to go kick these shoes off for the night, put them back on tomorrow, and start all over again. From the moment I put the shoes on day 2 and headed out the door for work, I knew that this was just going to work out. The shoes fit exactly the way they had felt when I took them off the day before. They had conformed nicely to the shape of my feet and were super comfortable from the first step. For the next few days, it was the same thing. No matter what I was doing, no matter what kind of ground I was covering, they did exactly like I'd hoped they would. I found myself with sure traction no matter what kind of surfaces I was walking across, so these shoes would be great for hiking. There was no discomfort to my feet. There was no slippage. They didn't feel like they were going to fall off. They always felt perfectly snug. They did a pretty good job of repelling dirt and mud, and they just looked sharp. I had a coworker come up to me and ask me specifically about my shoes and where I got them. So I texted him the link that was provided to me by Fitvil so that he could go take a look at them. Now, that being said, Fitvil is providing a special link and a significant discount to my viewers. They have generously offered 28% off to my viewers if you'll follow the link in the description box and enter that code. I didn't find anything at all that these shoes were not capable of handling or where they weren't as comfortable as I felt like they should be. I really enjoyed wearing them. All right, so let's go over the pros and cons of these Fitvil shoes. Probably the best pro with Fitvil in general is the huge selection of shoes that they've got. And they all have that same general construction in mind of the wider toe box and the sure gripping sole. Look, these shoes are designed for foot health. They're designed to keep you from spraining your ankle when you're out walking. They're designed to keep you walking the way you should be. And they are mostly designed to keep you comfortable when you're on your feet. So whatever design you choose, whether it's the more dressy styles or the hiking boots, you're gonna find something on there that you'll love. So go use that link, use that discount, and try these shoes out. It's not very often I get a new pair of shoes that really impress me overall. Once I find shoes that fit me comfortably, I stick with them. I usually buy that same brand or that same shoe over and over again because I know what I'm getting. I'm glad I got the chance to try these out. I'd never heard of Fitvil before. I had just started to see advertising from them when I received the invitation for this collaboration. So no, they're not the most popular brand out there, but I do think that they are a contender for business with people that are concerned about the health of their feet. I've been thoroughly impressed with these shoes. I like the look of them. I like the feel of them. There are a couple of cons that I do want to mention though. One of them is they're a little bit louder than most of my shoes. In fact, a coworker heard me coming and said that she was wondering who was coming up behind her and that she usually doesn't hear me coming. I had noticed that there was a little bit of a clomping sound when I was walking, and I think that's the larger, wider heel that these shoes have. Now, it's not intrusive, but it is something that you got to be aware of. The shoes are just a little clunky looking. They're more boxy than a lot of shoes are, and they do look a little bit bigger on your feet, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're looking for sleek design, this is probably not for you. But if you're willing for your shoes to look just a little bit bulkier in exchange for comfort, then this is probably going to be something you're going to want to check out. I'm extremely happy with these Fitville shoes. I've looked through some reviews trying to see if there was some kind of an Achilles heel with this company, and I haven't really seen anything specific that was just jumping out at me. But if you've had some experience with the company, good or bad, please leave a comment down below so that everybody that views this video knows what they're getting into. Sometimes the comment section of my own videos is where I learn the most about these companies and their business practices, whether it's the quality of their product or their customer service. So please feel free to share your story about Fitville down below with everybody. So that's going to wrap this one up. I hope maybe this introduced you to something you'd never heard of before, and maybe it's even something that you've been looking for, you just didn't know where to look. As for me, I'm probably going to look at some more Fitville shoes for myself. I'd like to find some in a little more dressy design that I can wear on those days when hiking boots aren't appropriate. And if you do go and buy a pair of shoes, please come back and tell me which ones you ordered, because I'd love to see what you guys are picking out. But that's it for this one, and until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you on the trail.